Welcome everybody. I'm Pat Whitworth. I'm Executive Director for the Southern Division. And my co-host, or actually host, is
Todd Upchurch, former president, immediate past president, Southern Board, among other things. So happy to be on the call today and running the call. So look forward to hopefully sharing some good information back and forth. And I would like an active group today. So if you have things to share, feel free to do that. So I appreciate that. But today we're talking about summer camps specifically, and how we can improve those, or how we can share some of the things that we do well in that. So looking forward to hearing from people. So I know that we had a couple that were asked to be on the call and maybe share. So I may open that up to them to start with. So I think Amy Bradley is on the call, correct?
And I will say, as she's finding her way to the microphone, that we do want to make sure that as we share, we want to go through as many ideas as possible. So we're hoping to keep it to a minute or two as we share, and then maybe we cycle back around if you have extra ideas. So that will be fine. Hello, Amy.
Can you hear me now? Hello,
yes.
How are y'all?
Doing well, Amy.
I'm calling from Savannah, Georgia, and I'm going to tell you about my lollipop camp that I think I started 30 years ago when I went to La Quinta, California. And it was started out, I guess I took that seminar class and I won and I went. It is the greatest way to start the little kids from 3 to 6. I use an obstacle course, and when I use like the jump rope, I make it like a snake. I use the big balls where they learn the hand eye, the big Prince balls or Wilson balls that blow them up. And now you can find them for $3 in those stores that are $5 and under. The big balls, I just let them take them home. I try to get high school kids because they're more fun than I am. And then I have stations, Macarena tennis. But I start the obstacle course and they are so exhausted after 15, 20 minutes.
Amy, what's Macarena tennis?
Yeah, I want to know that one. Macarena tennis.
So I use music. I use, like, you remember back in the day that A, B, C, 1, 2, 3? That's how I get them to hit a forehand or a backhand, because the music gets the timing. When I do Macarena tennis, I go 1, Maca 2, Maca 3, Macarena. I use that also. So I have different courts with different music. I have, music on every court with these kids, because that's what makes them go. And the stations, I go very quickly. 3 minutes is tops, because their mind, I don't know if you have gnats where you are, but we have these little bugs, gnats. Their mind is 3 minutes. That's it. And then they're on to a new thing. So I use every new song. I get the young kids that I hire to find whatever the songs these kids like. And I figure out the forehand, the backhand, the volley. I use volley trolley. There's some animal song a freeze. That's it. There's some song where you do, you know what I'm talking about? You guys do the little kids with the song freeze. I forget how it goes, but they love it. They act like a dinosaur. Then they act like this and they act like that. And they're using their racket. They have to use their racket in some way to be the animal.
Cool.
I mean,
tell me what volley trolley is.
So I make a line all the way through the alleys, and I get probably 10 pros, and they do the volley all the way through. And there's 10 of us in different stations where they hit the volley, and then you can catch it. But it's the pros doing it because the kids can't control the ball. So they actually tap it, but we catch it.
Right.
And it works out great. They love it. And then I do, at the end, I always play musical chairs because I'm old. That's old. And that is the greatest thing, because you use the shuffle, you use the side step, you work on moving diagonal, and they have to follow my signal.
Awesome.
And then, of course, they get a lollipop. I'm big on the candy. A skill, a drill, and a thrill. We got to have the candy. So I don't know if
you say the skill, the drill, and the thrill.
Yeah, but that's not from me. I got that from somebody that I took a USPT at Kenda.
It's okay. I'm going to steal it from you. I'm going to claim it, give it to you. So don't worry about it. So.
Okay. And then the other thing that I do is water balloons. It's very hot here. They love when I toss a water balloon, and they hit it and it goes everywhere. They think it's so cool. And then I take one of the high school kids, which everybody should do in their junior camp, and I cut a tennis ball in half, and I put baby powder in it. And they want one of the, how fast can you serve? Well, they hit it and it explodes, and they think it's the greatest thing in the world. So my stuff is old school, but they love it.
That's great, Amy. She's had a great program for years and years and years. So that's cool.
Amy, I like how you say you get the high school kids because they have more energy than you, but I don't think that's true.
They relate, the kids will come to me for the hug and the this or the that. And I'm telling you, this is the way to start them. Now that I have my own grandchildren that are young, like 2 and 3 and 4, my daughter makes me do a toddler thing. And now I've had to come up with that. And I average 25 kids for diapers and all, they come. But, it's good money.
That's her next one when we get back to her, Todd, pretty soon, hopefully.
All right. Oh, yeah. I hope that helps. I don't want to run you out, but if anybody wants ideas, they can just call me.
That's great. That's great.
Positive energy, and that makes endless fun.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm writing down all this stuff, so.
You can listen back to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was great. I think the thing that I take out of that, other than all these great ideas, is just the young kids from the energy that she's probably throwing out there at them. I'm sure that is very easy to catch on to. And so that would be terrific. I love that. And I'm sure they're always up and at them when she's running them. So thank you very much for that. So, Mr. Hawes, I see that you're on the call. Do you have a couple of things you'd like to share, sir?
If you can figure out how to unmute.
Unmute yourself, sir.
There we go.
Yes.
All right.
Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you. Amy is definitely not the person to follow, but I will give it a shot. Amy, those were good ideas. So I've already written down several. I'll just tell you a couple of things that we do that have gone over very well with the kids.
Where are you at, Jeff? What club are you at?
New Orleans Country Club, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Thank you. So
we do an all sports camp with golf. The kids start with golf in the morning, and then they give them over to us around noontime. Then our counselors take them, and we have them for swim and then tennis in the afternoon. But as we all know, by the middle of the afternoon, the kids are just wiped out between golf for 3 hours in the morning and then tennis. By the time we get to 2:30 in the afternoon, they just can't handle anymore. So we added something called Unique Sports. And all it is just adding a different sport to our camp. So one day we might play kickball at the end. The next day we might play soccer. We might do a hula hoop competition. We might do some kind of trivia contest. We might let the kids kind of help run it. So it's something that they've enjoyed. It's not it's not super neat. But it's something that the kids do enjoy doing. One of the other things that we pride ourselves in is, and this may sound, I mean, you can undersell this, but I would simply say, we, being in a very private country club, we have a captive audience. We can't just invite the masses. And so we really have to take care of our folks. And so with our counselors, I feel like we do a really good job of training them. And then also, I always tell the counselors, look, if you're a parent bringing your kids in, do you want the counselors to greet you when you're bringing your kids to the camp? And they all say the same thing. Of course we do. Well, it's not just that, it's how they greet them. And girls tend to do a little bit better at this than the guys do. But just calling the kids by name when you're welcoming to the camp, getting them excited about things we're going to do that day, and then also ending the day on a high note. We don't want the counselors, just cleaning up the courts or whatever. We want them visiting with the parents and letting them know what Johnny or Susie or Sally did that day and how they made it fun for them and all that. So a couple of things that we do in our camp that I think are highlights for our parents.
Awesome, Jeff. Thanks.
All right, writing a couple of those down. That was good.
I have a 1 minute one to share for sure.
Go right ahead.
And that is, and I think I might have gotten this from Bill Riddle, to tell you the truth, but I like to use the freezer pops. They're cheap. You get a bag of like 100 of them for $5 at Kroger's or any place. And man, you give kids 3 or 4 freezer pops during a lesson, and they just think they've hit the jackpot. So they're coming back for the next month just to keep getting freezer pops, which of course cost us nothing. And my big trick though is if you get those freezer pops, which are a little over a foot long, and you try to cut the ends off of them, they're really difficult to manage. So I always kept a knife nearby, but not near the kids, where I could just cut the things in half. So now the kids are only having to deal with half a freezer pop, which means they don't melt and get all over everything as fast. And we get to go back and get them more often. So if every 20 minutes in the middle of the summer, we stop, we have a freezer pop, they think that's great, and they go back out and run around for a little bit till the sugar wears off and do it again. So that's been something that I get kids out in the summer with freezer pops, and I got them out in the winter with hot chocolate.
Nice. Nice. Very good. Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple, sugar, send them home to their parents.
Exactly.
Just give them a big pixie stick right before they walk out the door.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of things that I have to share is that we've been doing camps like everybody for years and years, and you know we've let go of some of the things that didn't work, and we kept some of the things that did work, and some of the things that we use are themed weeks. So we may have a back to school theme week, or we might have a sports theme week, or Pat's favorite, our Disney theme week, and everything has a little theme to it. The things that we do, whether they be prizes or we have rainy day activities where they might be doing things inside, making crafts or whatnot. They're all based on a certain theme. Now that works a little bit better on the younger kids than the older kids do, because they're really more tennis based, but we try to mix that in and have theme weeks, and we let the parents know, when they're signing up, which weeks are which weeks. Now, it doesn't change a lot about the stuff on the court, but it does change a lot about the things off the court. Another thing that we were seeing that we were only getting kids that were 6 and 7 and up, and we really weren't getting the little ones. We run multi-level age camps, so we run in 2 separate camps at the same time, because the parents were dropping off their 6, 7 and up child, but then they had their 3, 4, 5-year-old still there, and they really were looking to be able to drop that one off. So we run 2 camps at the same time, and they kind of weave in and out with each other, but they really don't run at the same time with each other than break times and lunch. And so we have our little kids, our 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. So over the course of 3 or 4 hours, they're probably doing 45 minutes to an hour worth of tennis. And then the other times they're doing nature walks or doing arts and crafts inside, or the freezer pops, or playground or pool or other kind of things. So it allowed us to really double our summer camps by running 2 at the same time, but not everybody out at the same time. When we first get started with our camps at the beginning of the week, one of the things that we do is we group everybody first by age, but we try to group them out by different abilities, and then we have them pick a team name. So on every team, there might be different levels of kids, but they get to pick their own team name. And then everything that they do for the week has to do with that team name, whether the balls they put in the court or the number of balls they pick up, all that goes to their team name. So they'll line up and they'll say, the tennis wizards, 300 points. Or the next team that will be, Whitworth Wizards, or whatever it may be. They come up and give their team name and then their points. And at the end of the day, we total up those points, or I have one of my high school kids do it. And then that team's in the lead. So they're keeping up with that every time that they come out. And then once we put them in teams, we play a little game called lineup. And I don't know who I got it from. I stole it from somebody. If I could remember, I would give them the credit. But we take everybody on that team. A lot of kids don't know each other yet. So we tell them something like, all right, from biggest shoe to smallest shoe line up. And so the kids have to compare their shoe size, or they have to tell each other, and they line up in a line shoulder to shoulder. And when they think they've got it, they clap their hands. And, then the next thing would be, all right, from least amount of siblings to most siblings, or least amount of pets to most pets, or in alphabetical order, first name to last name. And in about 5 or 6 minutes, everybody knows a little bit of something about everybody on their team, whether it's favorite food, or it's their first name, or their number of pets, or if they have a dog or whatever. And then you go and check everybody. How many pets do you have? 1, 2, 3, whatever. And if they clap their hands, wherever they are when they clap their hands, that's where they have to stop. So it's just a quick way in 5 or 10 minutes for everybody to know something about other people on their team, and they get to see everybody else on other teams and, kind of what they do. So lineup's been a good game. We've done that many times, and come up with different things, longest hair to shortest hair. And the more older I get, I keep winning the shortest hair contest. So I keep winning that. And then lastly, with our competitive camps, we also run about 4 weeks of competitive level camps, and that's our tournament level players, and not, so it's a different structure. But at the end of that week, we sit with the pros on Thursday, and we write a player report for every kid that comes to camp. We have a picture of them on there, and we put in there things that they can work on. And then at the end of the week, we give that to the kid and then give it to their parents. So we really try to make it a little bit more competitive. They're not getting, the Dollar Tree prizes. They're actually taking something with them that they can work, and it also allows us to follow up with them with, other things, lessons, camps, clinics, that kind of stuff. But we really try to, show the kids we're paying attention to what they're doing and what they really need to work on. So every kid's a little bit different in their player report. So we might rank their forehand from 1 to 5, and here's so they can work on a backhand or serve, or all the things that are in there. So every kid gets that. We make sure we put the picture on it too, so it's personalized, and then they can take that home with them at the end of the week. So,
wow, super cool, Todd.
Yep.
Did you write notes on that too? You can send it to everybody.
For me.
Yeah. Well, what about we got a couple other people on here.
We do.
So I wonder, before we go back and hear about Amy's toddler camp, who we might get that would share.
Yeah, I guess I will. I'm in south of Atlanta since November 1st. I took over as Agape. Now, Atlanta gave 60 tennis courts to Agape Tennis Academy, so all the pros got booted out of Atlanta, unless you're on their staff, which is an unfortunate situation. So
John, where are you in South Atlanta exactly?
Fayetteville Parks and Recs. I'm the head pro. Okay. I run the program there, and I'd run it previously with Conrad Cook, who you might be familiar with, over at Clayton County at Lovejoy Tennis Center. He had 8 courts, and then I moved up into Atlanta. I was teaching at Bitsy Grant a lot, and then I'm in Fairburn. But then I just took over the Fayette County Parks and Recs, and we're getting ready to roll out a summer program. We had 2 after-school camps on 4 days a week during November.
Immediate next. So you guys just stay here. We'll just keep the same.
Group them all together by ability, including Mommy, Daddy, and Me classes. That's an idea I stole from Susan Nardi when I used to live out in California. Kind of get the parents come in to be able, especially with the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and to kind of feed balls a little bit. While I could hold the kids' rackets, I don't so much use the red balls. I do go to the orange and green balls fairly early. Once they see they can, hit across the ball and not break their wrist too much. I teach them to use their body, coil down, little things like that. And that idea, who had the hula hoops idea? That gets me thinking. I need to bring some of that back. I've seen coaches do that, where you do some of the other skills, because today's kids are not as athletic as we were. I'm 64 years old. I grew up in Eagle Woods. By the time I was 10, I had played, 6 or 7 sports when I started playing tennis full time, when I chose to become a tennis player. And, we played dodgeball, hockey, everything in the St. Louis area at the time. So this idea of hula hoops and maybe even going down in 3-point, 4-point stances and little things, just switching it up a little bit. Soccer, I do like the idea of kicking a ball around, because you learn footwork, you learn to balance yourself. Because today's kids, don't know how to balance. I just got an 11-year-old the other day. She's a scholar kid. I mean, has never played a sport. It was amazing. It took her probably 7 tries to be able to bounce a ball into her hand. So that's the challenge. We didn't used to have that challenge. When you got an 11-year-old, you could play catch, they could throw a football or shoot a basketball, regardless of what sex they were.
So John, what were some of the things that we can use in our summer camps there?
One thing is I divide in Atlanta, it's 100 degrees from July and August. So we put the little kids up early. We start them at 9 o'clock. Okay. And then they gradually get older. We bring in the older kids as the day goes on. And then we have the high performance kids come out in the afternoon. We do invite the better kids if they want to work out in the morning with each other. We've got 8 courts currently, although we're about to move to 32 because we're building 24 more courts there in the county. So I think the idea is that we have to be heat conscious, safety conscious. And the other thing is they do like the games, like I said, to build their eye-hand coordination. I know that's what we're going to be spending a lot of time doing when we Memorial Day weekend when these camps start through June. You got to spend a certain amount of time getting them to catch the ball, both hands, learn to run, learn to balance, touch the ball, even direct it. Baseball, they do like the baseball game, the jailbreak game. It does have to be games based. I do notice that. We try not to let them stand in line. I like the volley trolley idea. I've seen that before. I didn't know. Now I understand it better. So I'm probably going to adopt that in. But I like the idea of keeping lines moving, tossing a lot of balls. And I do try to get the parents involved if at all possible, because I need as many feeders as we can and keep the balls from, the kids having to pick up balls. If we can just keep them hitting balls constantly into targets and little things like that. So I do use a lot of colored, I use the disc so they don't trip over the disc. Plus they don't get knocked over all over the court. So I use those colored discs. And I think I use, 6 different colors. And I spread those throughout the court. And then we have contests, where you hit it into certain squares. Hula hoops are also a good target to hit on. But I've had a lot of success. I lose very little program people. In other words, the kids tend to come back over and over. We started with 4 kids in October as a test case, and now we've already got 28 kids registered for our camp next month, starting on the first Monday in April.
That's great.
So we're excited about that, and this is a program that didn't even have a program last summer. You'd be lucky on 4 courts if there were 4 people playing doubles on one court. And of course, pickleball is starting to dominate, which is, I blame on bad tennis instruction, which is another story. But we got lucky because we asked them to build 4 pickleball courts down there right below us. And they did. They've already cleared it out through the county and didn't even have to bid it out. So we're not going to have any pickleball players. That's going to help out a lot. Although I will say this, pickleball does help their right-hand coordination. I mean, as much as I hate to admit that, I teach a lot of kids and a lot of adults too. And the ones that play pickleball are coming back understanding what I say about drag the racket into contact, use your body, not your wrist and your arm, and then just change direction, when you bend your arm across. So that helps a lot. So, but I'll have probably 50 kids in Fayette County alone this summer, minimum, if not 100 by the end of the summer. And we've got a lot of coaches lined up. So,
all right, John, it sounds like we need to have you on when we do some tennis skill-based stuff as well. So we need to have you back on when we do some tennis technique things. So
I'll send you excerpts of the book. I spent 18 years researching every tennis method on earth.
Yeah. So we're trying to stay on topic with summer camps today, but I'd love to have you back on another call and we can talk more tennis technique and how other sports. And I agree with you that the kids definitely need more athletic skills. I say that with the little kids is that, we're trying to make them more athletic and using tennis as the vehicle to be able to do that. So I agree with you there, but I wanted to give time to see if anybody else on the call, maybe Paul, if you had anything you would like to share before we go back and circle back to Amy.
So we have 2 people, Paul and
Paul and Angel.
Angel's phones. I'm not sure what they are. There you go, Paul.
Maybe.
The unmute button's in the lower left-hand corner.
Let's go back to Amy, Todd.
Oh, here we
All
go.
right, Amy.
How about now?
Paul.
Oh, there's
There
Paul.
you go.
Paul's on.
Sorry.
There we go.
Sorry about that. My mute unmute was not working. So I'm in the at the Buckhead YMCA in Atlanta. I don't do summer camps per se, so I'm really here looking for ideas, but I'll share a couple things that I do I've got about close to 80 kids of various ages in different classes that I teach. But one of the things I do, and this is sort of akin to the popsicle idea, is as you know, it gets hotter than Hades in Atlanta. So one of the things I do, I actually went out and bought a fan at Home Depot and an extension cord, and I run a fan down to my court, and I bring a squirt bottle, and I put the squirt bottle in the refrigerator before I come and teach. And those kids just love it. During breaks, they'll get squirted all over wherever they want to get squirted, and then they'll stand in front of the fan. And it's a great way to cool them down. They have a lot of fun. And anyway, so anybody wants to use that idea, I highly recommend it. And the other thing I do, somebody mentioned hula hoops earlier. I use hula hoops and I use buckets, but one of the things I do is I put 3, sometimes more, 5-gallon paint buckets out on the court, and I'll move them around. And the idea is if anybody can hit a bucket, they get an extra piece of candy. I give my kids candy at the end of class. And so you move them around, and I'm telling you, instead of just giving them a target, here, aim for this target. Now they have skin in the game because they're trying to get a piece of candy. And then the other thing I do with the buckets to sort of, not just hitting tennis balls all the time, but still running, is I'll divide them up into teams. Every team has a bucket, and then I'll just hit a bunch of balls in the air, and they've got to go chase down the balls and bring them and put them in the bucket. So it's a good way for them to learn catching skills, teamwork. It's amazing to see how some teams will go one ball at a time, and some teams will figure out I got to carry 3, 4 balls at a time. So anyway, those are the kind of things I do.
Neat.
Nice. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
All right, Amy, we're circling back to you for the tiny tots or the younger kids.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure how to get you to see me, but whatever, that's good. So it's very hot here in Savannah. First of all, when I do the toddlers, the little, you're talking 2 years old, 3. A lot of times the mother will come, but then she drops them off. So I try to do them like right when they get out of daycare, whatever they do. I try to do them at 2:30. So it's hard to get help. So I had to get some of the moms to help me. But I also set up a slip and slide because it's so hot here. And they love that. Like if they do well, that's their reward. And I don't know if you guys are all too young, but there's a show called Miss Rachel on television. Any of you have children? Little babies? Nobody, right? You're all my age, close to my age?
No babies anymore.
24.
Well, there's a show, Miss Rachel, and she shows you're on the bus, you're off the bus. And that's how I do that class. You're going to hold the ball, then you're going to throw it over the net. I set up 2 lines, and they skip up and throw it over. I'm in the middle. I hand them the ball or whoever's helping me. Then they come back. Then we might run and throw it over. We might shuffle, throw it over. I do follow the leader around the court because that command they understand. They follow the person in front of them. This is for the real babies. And then they you remember how there's a story that says, brown bear, what do you see? Well, to learn everyone's names, I usually put a name tag on, but I also let them, they all love that story. So I tell them, brown bear, what do you see? I see Amy standing next to me, and then they have to repeat, and they can do it. They can repeat the other person's name in front of them. And so that's how they learn it. And you could actually do it with the 5, 6 to 7. I think, but after that, the older kids will think it's stupid, but the little kids love it. So it's all those things. So if you turn on the show, Miss Rachel, and you want to get the little kids like I get them, that's all you need. You just watch her. I even sometimes wear the overalls and the pink shirts she wears because that's what she looks like. My daughter that lives in Savannah here, she's a lawyer. She's the one who helped me. She says, Mom, all you got to do is wear this, and they're all coming, and they come. So it's that show. I don't know. There's a lot of controversy because they have, whether you're, I don't know, all that new stuff that you have to be careful of. But at any rate, that's what I use for that. I think that introduces it into my lollipop camp, and then the lollipop goes right into my junior camp, and they don't go anywhere. And I get grabbed from the other clubs as well. So.
Very good. Very good.
Cool. Todd, I got another quick one to share, and I think it ties in almost with anybody that runs longer camps. Now, this was a while back at my previous club, but during our summer camp where we would have 20 plus kids usually for the 4-hour session, and we had a pool break in there. So I started having a thing, and I gave them money, but they were called Pat Bucks. And we printed up little monies that were Pat, and it said, "In Pat we trust." And it was just kind of fun. But at the end of the week, they got to cash in their Pat Bucks for all these prizes, mainly junk, Oriental Trading Company, old tennis stuff we have, just stupid stuff. The little tennis rackets you get, the ball on the keychains, and just as much, walking teeth that clatter. And they would, and whoever had the most money could buy first, and they went down the line getting one item at a time. Now, the way they earned them was if you got back from the pool break on time, you got $20. If you picked up balls when you were supposed to, you got $20. If you did something and came back from the first break, you got $20. Everybody got money for doing the things that we want them to do. If the kid didn't want to pick up balls, he didn't get his money. If he didn't come back from break on time, no money. But that was just a fun way to kind of get them to do the things we want them to do. And then I just spread all these prizes out the last 15 minutes of practice, and everybody got to. And I'd have a tennis ball full of candy. I call it can of candies, and people like that. Once again, junk candy. Of course, moms love that, but that was something that was really fun. And
I love it.
We got 4.5 minutes left.
All right, I've got a couple here. One is, look, I think every single person that's come on here said it's hot where we are during the summer. Well, it's hot in New Orleans as well.
It's hotter.
Yeah, it's hot.
But the humidity is nice and low, though. That's the nice part.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Get smacked as you walk out the front door. Anyway, so look, our counselors get wiped out. It's not just the kids. The counselors get wiped out. And I use that as a time to say, you 6, go have a seat, get a drink, whatever. And I handle the kids all by myself. And it's just a huge trivia contest. And we usually go into teams, and I usually have, we may do themes or whatever. But it's nothing extraordinary. Everybody's done it, but it gives our counselors a break, which they always need. And the last one that we tend to do a lot of the times is called roly-poly. Some people do it. All it is you line up your kids, usually divided into 3 or 4 teams, line up your kids on the sideline. We have 3 courts in a row. So we pick a doubles alley. And we tell them, hey, if you could drop the ball in here. In other words, they're going to roll the ball from one end of the court, and they roll it across the court. They get it to stop in that doubles alley. They get so many points. Then we tell them that if you take it to the next doubles alley, you get 2 points. And then we just add them up, and the kids tend to like that. We have several rounds of it, and it's some way for us to end the camp on a high note. The good thing about it is you can have 5-year-olds doing as well as 12-year-olds. So it makes it kind of fun.
Jeff, we do a variation of that where it's alley roll, and we put we put a hula hoop in that alley. So if they can get it to bounce up and go on the hula hoop, they get more points. Or we lay a cone on the side, and if they can get it to roll up into the cone, they get more points. So we do a similar thing to that, and then the kids love it because you're right, any age can do it, and you kind of make it easier for them if you've got some on the team that are not that old and pretty young. You just let them get a little closer to the alley, right? They get a little extra move than rolling across the entire court. So yeah, that works really well.
Awesome. We have, and I know Jeff is great with trivia because I don't know really anybody that knows more useless knowledge than Jeff does. So that's
what a compliment. What a compliment.
Kind of a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
We have a minute and a half left, Todd. We're set up for this to automatically will shut us down. We're on the no pay version of Zoom for this first go. So we have
how about sharing some great jokes for kids?
You probably know them.
One of my favorite jokes that I share all the time is, why did the star get up in the middle of the night?
Why?
It had to go twinkle.
The kids will love that.
They love it. They absolutely love it. They had to go twinkle. I had one boy holding his gut so hard, I couldn't get him to stop laughing.
I'm sure you have one more, Jeff, that the kids love.
I got lots of them. Let's see here. Let's see. What's a recent one? What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
Oh.
Come on, kids love these things.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you very much. Thanks everybody.